Hi, everyone. Greetings and welcome to Turning a Moment into a Movement. I am J Love. I am the host, and I represent the Justice for Gerard movement. Um, Gerard, who is my son, was wrongfully convicted of a crime he didn't do. Innocent, and he went to prison for that crime. And because of that journey with Gerard, I met so many other mothers and families that were also suffering from the same injustice. And so, because of all of that, we created this platform called Turning a Moment into a Movement, where we come here on Friday evenings to talk about injustice, wrongful convictions. Um, our mission statement is to bring awareness to the wrongful convictions of Gerard and all others who are wrongly convicted, over sentenced, mentally ill, and medically frail in our community, to inspire, organize, and educate all communities about the needs to disrupt systems, policies, and patterns of the criminal legal system that leads to wrongful convictions. And so that's the reason why we come here every Friday. That is our goal and our mission, to bring awareness. So thank you for joining us today. This is a first. Um, we're going to bring in our panel member who we normally bring in last, but we're bringing them in first today. Attorney Hugo Mack. Hey, Attorney Mack.
Well, well, this is an honor. This is an honor. You mean I get to lead off? Well.
How are you today?
This is a good thing. I would like to say this is all so sudden, but I keep myself prepared for just such occasions. Attorney Hugo Mack here. Proud to be here.
Mm-hmm.
One of the 44,000 plus members of the Michigan State Bar, but the only one who did not parachute from heaven to grace you with his presence today, but came up from hell through the power of God and Jesus Christ to be with you today. And it is a great pleasure to be with like-minded individuals. I pride myself on being perhaps the only attorney in the state of Michigan that has regular office hours from 7:30 at night to 4:30 in the morning. See, because these are my people, J Love. See,
Right.
and J Love, I want you to understand something. My clients are the people that drive over bridges in fancy cars. My clients are the kind of people who live under bridges in cardboard boxes. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So these are the people that need and deserve the help more than anybody else. Okay, the rich
Right.
don't have a problem with justice. It's always the poor, the black, the overly charged, that catch hell. So God brought me back from hell for a time such as this. And so for the rest of the time God has me on this earth, I intend to go on and do the very best I can do,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm proud to be here. And it's always an honor to look at you, J Love, and what you've done and the platform that you have given us, and J Love, we've been together for quite some time. And
I know.
I think you and the audience, I think y'all know what's coming next. Okay.
Mm-hmm. We ready.
Okay. So here we go. If you find yourself on Trouble Boulevard, push, pull, tow, drag that hoopity to Mack Street. Mack Street. And when you there, park in my virtual underground garage. The sign says no valet parking. I would not recommend you leave the keys in your car in my parking lot. Okay. So I would seriously not recommend you do that. And when you there, get your cell phone and call the Freedom Line, 734-239-3118. The Freedom Line, 734-239-3118. The Freedom Line, 734-239-3118. Because the truth of the matter is, you tried to rest, now come to the best. You've been outside in the rain. Come on in where it's dry. Come on to Mack Street. Come on to my virtual office. And then when you're there, you're going to realize if you don't want to win, don't come in. Now, J Love, there's a simple
Yeah.
thing I want all you and the rest of the people, Mr. and Miss America, and Ships at Sea listening to. HMacLaw.com is your hookup. HMacLaw.com is your hookup. HMacLaw.com is your hookup. And you know, J Love, I know you've
Yeah.
warned me about blatantly profiteering and advertising. I know. And I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do better. And I know, J Love, they may ask you from time to time, J Love, why you have
Yeah.
that lawyer on that show? Does that man really mean anything he says? I'm here to tell you, J Love, damn straight I do. Damn straight I do. And you know what, J Love? You know what, J Love? And I'm gonna say this. I know you told me not to say it. I'm gonna say this one time. Rather than you yield to pressure and kick me off the show, I know they be writing you and stopping you on the street, putting note on your car. I know who the haters are. I know all of you. I know who you are. Okay. So, but see, J Love, rather than kick me off the show, I, in the words of my great friend Morris Day, feel a little better if you just slap my face, J Love. So you see, so I'll really prefer that. So J Love, I want to thank you, and I want to let you know that I'm proud and honored to be here. And you know what, J Love? This message is unashamedly brought to you by Dr. Hugo J. Mack, Esquire, the one true king of Russia, Scotland, and Harlem. I love you.
That's cool, Attorney Mack. Thank you, Attorney Mack. See,
Thank
you the first one today. Hey, Reverend Tia. Now you got
hello there.
You got to come behind Attorney Mack.
I know, right? I'm so glad that I can come. When I say it's been a day, it's been a day. But you know what? It's a day filled with choices. And coming to you from the choice zone, and everywhere I go, I'm taking the movement with me.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, I take social justice with me. Everywhere I go, I take activism with me. And Jay, I'm telling you, we have seen and witnessed a lot this week. Um, and I'm glad we're here to talk about it, because now is the time for us to choose right. Make some better choices, right?
Yeah.
And when we're doing that, you know, my thing is always to educate, motivate, and encourage others to access the power within so that they make the choices that are going to benefit themselves and benefit the community. And so we are here, this dispensation, to make better choices. We got to ask ourselves, are the choices we're making, is it a benefit to myself? Is it a benefit to my family? Is it going to benefit the community? We get to choose. We get to make some new choices. And I'm just excited to be here and to just let you know that thank you for letting me walk with you, because it's been a journey, and we're still journeying on. And you know how that song used to say, we're going to see what the end is going to be. Well, no, we're not going to see it. We're going to know it. We're going to believe it, and we're feeling it right now.
Yeah, absolutely right, Reverend Tia. Thank you. So I guess everyone else will be popping in later. Close to the end, we're going to talk about the rally that's going to happen on Mother's Day at the Women's Huron Valley. We're going to have one of the activists that is part of the group that is hosting this event on with us. But Reverend Tia and Attorney Matt, this just been one of those weeks that so much has been going on. So I just figured that we have a conversation about all of this stuff so much. I don't even know where to start, because it's just so much that we need to unpack. But at the end of the day, we all need to be paying attention to what's going on. I know we see so much stuff. Some of it is very traumatizing, but we can't forget that we have to, in order for change to happen, it takes each and every one of us to somehow find our space to get involved, to bring awareness, to talk to others in your family and your community, because we can change things. We absolutely can, but it takes work and it's a journey. So with that being said, I'm going to show a few videos and we're going to just have a conversation. I'm going to, Attorney Mac, before we get started, do you know about Marilyn Mosby?
Marilyn Mosby. Refresh me, J Love. Marilyn
She's
Mosby.
a prosecutor. So I thought you knew a little bit about her. I'm going to play a video about her.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
a good one.
Yeah, we'll start with Marilyn Mosby. We'll start with this.
She the one that was convicting people wrongfully with that policeman.
She was wrongfully convicted.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So we'll start with Marilyn Mosby first, you guys.
Okay.
Well, you were Baltimore City State's attorney, so you were doing your job, and then it took a shift. When did it start taking a shift? When did the government start attacking you, and for what reason?
So when I became the state's attorney, I was the youngest chief prosecutor of any major American city in the country. Mm-hmm. I won at the age of 34. And so 5 months into my first term, a young black man by the name of Freddie Carlos Gray Jr. was killed in the custody of police when he was unconstitutionally arrested, placed into a metal wagon, head first, feet shackled, and handcuffed. And his pleas for medical attention were ignored. I followed the facts with the law. I wouldn't do anything differently, but I charged those police officers. And at that time, I was one of the first prosecutors in the country to attempt to hold police officers accountable for the death of a black man. And so that wasn't happening in this country. And so it immediately came with a great deal of backlash. You know, I got hate mail and death threats, but that's when they started to come for my law license. They were trying to, do whatever they could to break me. And what we learned out of that case, those officers were acquitted. In my opinion, the police department sabotaged the case. So in 2016, when I dismissed it, we put out a slate of police accountability reform proposals that were subsequently adopted nationally after George Floyd. You can go on record and you can see those same sort of proposals. But we also learned our lessons in that during my tenure, we then subsequently prosecuted 33 police officers successfully, right?
So not just, you didn't go after just the Freddie Gray police officers, 33 other police officers successfully.
Anybody that preyed upon the vulnerabilities of the citizens of Baltimore had to deal with my office. I knew people were going to come for me. I just didn't think that they were going to use this system against me in a way in which I would be wrongly convicted and face the same sort of reality as all of those exonerees.
So this is the indictment that happened in 2022. That was the first time they came for you?
For 5 years, they had been investigating every aspect of my life. So like they combed my taxes, my charitable donations, my campaign contributions. They went to my children's dance instructors. They were sending the FBI to my neighbors' homes at 5 a.m. And so I understood that it was coming, but I still knew that I had done nothing wrong. Yeah. And so to then have, all of that be public, and the feds, when they're investigating you, typically you don't know it until you're indicted. They made it very public because they wanted to create this narrative that I was somehow a villain and corrupt. And so I was shocked when they came back and they indicted me of withdrawing my own money, the money that I put away every 2 weeks out of my retirement savings.
The Baltimore Deferred Compensation Retirement Account.
And made it out to be as if I was utilizing PPP loans or COVID relief funding, right? Like, no, this is literally my money. And what I was told was that I could access my money. What the government put on the stand is that David Randall, who's the executive director for the Deferred Compensation Fund for Baltimore City, he said all you needed to do was suffer a $50 adversity and you could access your money. 739 people in the city of Baltimore did the exact same thing that I did. And I'm the only person in America that has now been targeted, prosecuted, and convicted of doing this and facing 40 years in jail.
I don't know if you know this part, but it's actually United States overall, 35,000 people did the same thing, withdrawing from their retirement accounts. None of them were prosecuted either.
So what's the call to action? What do we need people to do?
We need people to sign this petition.
Where is it?
It's on justiceformarilynmosby.com. The petition is calling on President Biden to issue a pardon, to do the right thing, because sometimes even good people need to be called to account and to be asked to do the right thing. So we'll keep doing it.
We can debate if he's good or not, but go ahead.
Well, not today. Not on this. Not in the call to action. And I think the other thing that's important for people to do is to spread the word. Talk about this case. If you know that this is ridiculous, that someone is facing 40 years in prison, one, for something they didn't do, but especially something around withdrawing money from their own retirement account, speak up, because if we don't, it could happen to any of us. That is the point. So I think those are the two calls to action for those who are listening.
What's the website again?
justiceformarilynmosby.com. Sign that pardon petition, and also make sure that you're sharing this story.
As one of the few black state attorneys, Marilyn Mosby took a number of political risks during her 8-year tenure. She moved to decriminalize sex work and marijuana. She established programs to provide nonviolent drug offenders with alternatives to incarceration, and even started one of the country's only youth and prevention departments. But it wasn't until after her push to prosecute the officers who killed Freddie Gray that she found herself on the other side of the courtroom, convicted of fraud for withdrawing funds from her own Baltimore deferred compensation retirement account, something 739 other city employees, including 3 people who worked in the same agency as Attorney Mosby, did during the pandemic. Yet she was the only one prosecuted and now faces up to 40 years in prison. Marilyn Mosby joins me now. I guess the first most obvious question is, how are you doing? This must have hit you like a Mack truck.
I mean, first and foremost, I'm blessed. And so thank you for having me on. Yeah, it's still an incredibly sobering moment, right? I've done absolutely nothing wrong, nothing illegal, nothing criminal.
This was your money. Was there any public money involved in this transaction?
No, absolutely not. This was not, despite how I've been vilified, when the gag order was in place and I was unable to defend myself. It's just not PPP loans. This is not a COVID relief funding. This was the money that I was putting away every 2 weeks in a retirement savings account.
So that's I don't know what to even say about this case. She's facing 40 years. She's a mother of young children who didn't even commit a crime.
And I think, what is obvious is that they don't want reform.
Excuse me.
Some people don't really want reform. And what is obvious even in this case is that there are many people who not only don't want reform, they don't want to do what's right. They're not looking at what was done to the victim. They're not looking at the person who was killed or injured. They don't want to do. A lot of times, some people always say, well, we got to bring it to the table. Let's talk about it. This seems like a no-brainer. And what I am very happy about in the midst of it is that this is our moment to seize the opportunity to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go to the justiceformarilynmosby.com and sign that petition.
Exactly.
I was thinking the other day, maybe I just need to have just justice days where I just do my writing on that day, right? Get letters out, contact people. We have many bills out there for us to back in petitions. And in order to do it, we have to make the conscious effort and say, this is what I'm doing today.
Mm-hmm.
We have I know we have an event coming up We have to make that conscious decision saying, okay, this is how I'm going to spend my day.
Yeah.
Because it's worth it. It's worth it.
Just like Blessed Love said, this can happen. This could be since we've been coming on here talking about wrongful convictions, right? We have stated until we're blue in the face that wrongful conviction can happen to anybody, even a prosecutor, a former prosecutor, right?
Yeah.
Innocent, but she's facing 40 years. She took her own money that she needed to use because of whatever was going on with COVID. Now, in her retirement fund, she didn't use any donation money, her own money. So we had to
go to jail for that. Gets prosecuted for that. Usually it's just a 20% you pay.
Well, Attorney Matt.
Look, let me say it this way, okay? Now, for all you black people listening, all you gullible black people out there listening, somebody tell you something and they say, well, what about Donald Trump? Did the same thing to him. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, look, let me role play. They teach us that in law school, okay? Now, there's a black congressman, black in skin color, from Florida. I cannot remember that man's last name. Got the nerve to think Donald Trump gonna tap him for vice president. Wrong. You see, because let me tell you, and Tim Scott. Wrong. What's his name? Vanesh Ramesh, the one guy, the Indian guy that was carrying water for Trump. Remember him? Wouldn't say nothing bad about Donald Trump at all. Wouldn't say nothing about it. Think he gonna tap him for vice president. Wrong. Okay, so what I'm telling you is this. First of all, to all you people sucking up to this man, thinking he gonna put you vice president, you ain't gonna be vice president parking his car. So let me tell you something right now. He will not, under no circumstances, allow any of y'all people of color to get up close to that vice presidency, knowing the man is in his late 70s, and they're not going to put no black man for Tim Scott. Is it Donaldson? I can't remember what that guy's name is in Florida. And Bhavesh Rama's his name. You ain't finna be up in nowhere like that, okay? Because they don't want nobody dark a heartbeat away from that presidency, because they scared y'all might relapse. You know, I used to watch the Boondocks, right? You know, and so they had Mr. Dubois. He was a prosecutor, black guy, real proper, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And you know, he was above blackness. All right, he was like an OJ. He had transcended blackness. But one time somebody cut him off in the parking lot. Right, he was finna come in, and somebody cut him off, and then, boy, the black came out in him. Anyway, J Love, you may say, okay, turn back. What I got to do with anything? I'm going to tell you, they will not put a black person a heartbeat away from the presidency. I don't care how loyal they is. I'm going to ask you all to remember the movie Harriet. Did y'all see the movie Harriet?
Mm-hmm.
You remember the Uncle Tom that was working with the white man catching them black folk? Remember that? Yeah. The master told the monkey, don't do this, or don't shoot that person, or don't mess with them, right? The monkey went to thinking, shoot, the master, I'm off the leash. You know, I can find some independence. Whatever he did what the white man told him not to do. And y'all know what promptly happened to his black behind. Shot. Okay, so what I'm saying is that for all you people are thinking that Donald Trump is going to give some nod to one of them black folk because I think it's going to get a bunch of black votes, that's not right. Okay, J Love, so forgive me. Let me play the black Trump supporters for y'all, okay? Okay? First of all, she was charged, wasn't no crime. Well, that's what happened with Donald Trump. I mean, yeah, he might have paid that woman some money, but wasn't no crime involved. Yeah, Letitia James, that black woman, get that man caught up for them for embellishing on the sides of his penthouse. So what? Everybody got money, wasn't no victim. Okay, point number one. Point number two, this is all a matter of politics with a black woman. Donald Trump say, see, black people, y'all can relate to me, just like they did Miss Mosby, they didn't me. It's politics. This is all politics. This is a witch hunt against me. Point number three, well, you did something wrong and you got to account for it. I ain't done nothing wrong. Why they charging me? They got thousands of people in New York that ain't never did the things right. Why you busting it up to a felony? If y'all gonna charge me, keep it a misdemeanor. Now, the difference between her and Donald Trump is, hadn't she been convicted already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
See, Donald Trump is one sliver away from taking that dive. One sliver away from taking that dive. And you know what's so important right now about this whole thing is that it is not us that he can blame. All right. It's not us that he can rally the white folks around, the racists, the nationalists, and say it's because of the blacks. Remember, in every election, what does he tell them? If the election's stolen, look to Philadelphia. Who are we talking about? If the election is stolen, look to Wayne County. Who are we talking about? If the election is stolen, look to Milwaukee. Who are we talking about? So anyway, J Love, what I want to do is point out there's a whole lot of differences between Miss Mosby's case and Donald Trump's case. Donald Trump is a person of privilege. This woman has been convicted already, all right, going to be sentenced. You notice they didn't say they had some 80-some felony charges against her and she maintained her freedom, okay? Mm-hmm. This woman has been targeted. This woman has been chastised. This woman has been rebuked because timing is so important. Just like Donald Trump say, well, how come they bring this up now in the middle of the election? First of all, you a lie. They've been investigating this for some years now, okay? And it takes time to put a case together. With her, the thing that I want people to understand is, isn't this coincidental how she was doing just good till she told those charged police officers? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Isn't it good?
Attorney Matt, let me add this one thing. It was Donald Trump, Department of Justice, that brought the charges on her. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That is another very, very good point because the woman is disposable and the woman had the nerve to speak up. There was another black woman, that's who I thought you were talking about. I can't remember her name, but was in Missouri, maybe Kansas City, Missouri or St. Louis, Missouri. Remember that?
Yeah.
She had the same kind of thing happen to her because she was saying, wait a minute, how y'all shoot the man that many times and did he have a gun? I mean, something is wrong. And they brought all kinds of hell against her. Now I've lost track of her case, but unfortunately in Missouri, the governor's got the authority to pull people out of office and put somebody else in. And so she got pulled out, and I don't know if she ever was able to get back in. But my point, J Love and Reverend Tia, is this. Do not let people put false equivalencies on these cases. Remember what Donald Trump's saying? The black people love me because I've been done wrong, just like they've been done wrong. Well, there's a difference between being prosecuted and persecuted, okay? Donald Trump is being prosecuted. From what it sounds like to me, this woman is being persecuted under the guise of law. There's a big, big difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They was trying to, like they said, put her in her place.
Exactly. That's right. And a message to any other progressive that would try to come in and do that. And I'm going to say this. Isn't it interesting? The people that are progressives that have been gotten the hammer we hear about are black folk. This woman right here in Baltimore and that black woman in St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis.
So obviously they don't have the money and support that the white progressives have, J Love and Reverend Tia. So and then it's a matter of race and gender. I'm gonna say this: Hillary Clinton did not get elected, and I'm gonna say this. I'm sorry, I'm too. Hillary Clinton did not get elected only because of Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton did not get elected because, unfortunately, there are a lot of women in this country that have woman's self-hate. They do. I'm sorry, they do. They do.
You're right.
They do not want to see a woman in a position of breaking through that glass ceiling because They've been indoctrinated to Christianity, my religion, to feel a woman should only go so high and that's it. So they will not tolerate a woman challenging that Judeo-Christian belief that they have. Same reason a lot of women voted against to eliminate affirmative action in the state of Michigan. I'm sure y'all remember that. It was called Proposal 2. Okay, Proposal 2. That's the same year that Debbie Stabenow and Jennifer Granholm, they get reelected in office. But how come Proposal 2 go down?
Yeah.
See? So you had a lot of women that was willing to support Granholm and Debbie Stabenow, one president, governor, and senator. But when it came to blacks, hell no. So, you know.
Yeah. And you know, it's true, Attorney Mack, because not only looking at the women, but looking at law enforcement agencies and the political ties that they have. I think a lot of times people don't realize what happens with these political, you know, because the politically law enforcement have lobbyists, and these lobbyists, they have these efforts that are a threat, that become a threat to true legal action. They have power dynamics because these law enforcement agencies, you know, they demonstrate power in society, enforcing laws, investigating crimes, arresting individuals, and that gives them leverage for influencing political decisions. They pay big time. They pay politicians big time so that they can continue to become these, you know, to continue in enforcing and using their political strength, not their political strength, but their law enforcement strength unjustly. They pay for this. They pay to be the boss. They pay to have a strong hold on society. They add political pressure. And I don't think people understand it. Prioritizing laws just for them that don't have anything to do with the safety of our society. Law enforcement lobbyists, there's a lack of accountability. They pay so that they don't have to be transparent. They're paying for it.
That's right.
And they pay for selective enforcement.
That's right.
They pay for that.
That's right.
They pay to continue to impact marginalized community. They are paying for that. And when I say they are paying for it, we are paying for it. Because what happens?
Yeah.
We're paying for them, right?
Yeah. And Reverend Tia, truer words were never spoken. That's exactly right. And which from you, I'm not surprised. I look forward to that. So what I'm saying is, you are so right, Reverend Tia, because remember, for a brief period of time, the Democrats in the state of Michigan had a governorship, they had the Senate, and they had the House, okay? You remember, J. Love, our great leader, you were gracious enough to have my state representative, Jimmy Wilson Jr., okay, on the show. You remember that, Reverend Tia? You remember him, okay?
Yeah.
And you know that with that slim majority that we had in the Senate and the House and the governorship, they had the opportunity to pass legislation on qualified immunity. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. The votes were there, not by much, but the votes were there. But what happened? You had Democrats running scared. I can't vote to, be bringing police to account. Shoot, I got a district that's mixed, I barely got elected this time, and it's more important for me to keep my job than to keep my integrity. See, that's the problem right there. See,
yeah,
that's the problem right there. Because and you know what, and the governor, even if it had passed, okay, if she would have signed it or not, I have my doubts. I had my doubts. Because if the Democrats managed to push that through by 1 or 2 votes in the House and the Senate, and it went to the governor, if she don't sign it, then it's got to go back to either a majority of both houses or 2/3 or whatever to override her veto. Not enough votes to do it, y'all. Not enough votes to do it. So, J Love, when I hear you talk about qualified immunity and Reverend Tia, and the presentation I made on qualified immunity, the truth of the matter is, not enough people want change. They don't. And I hate to say it about my people. We are the kind of people, as long as it ain't hitting us, we really don't give a damn. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
But I see it in us time and time and time again, And the thing of it is that we got so much self-hate. We actually like hearing about police busting somebody's head. Oh, that end had it coming. He shouldn't have been around here doing wrong in the first place. And it always hurts me when I see that. I mean, and my life is open book. The time I spent in the penitentiary, the most vitriol against Black people came from the mouths of other Black people. Okay. Came from the mouths of other Black people. Are they skinheads and racists and Aryan nations and white supremacists? Absolutely. Ran into a many of them, confronted a many of them. Okay. But the bottom line is, the greatest problem we have in the penitentiary is with us. It is. It is. We get in some group or maybe some religious organization, and there's good and bad in every group. But from what I've seen, and what's so hurtful to me, y'all? It was so hurtful. Okay. Let me just be transparent here. I would hear Black people talking about, oh, that nigga this, that nigga ain't this, and nigga ain't that. And you know who right there listening and saying nothing? A whole bunch of white guys. We castigating and threaten ourselves in front of them. And they're not saying a word, but listening, listening. And giving food and ammunition to, look at these porch monkeys right here. Yeah, we ain't right. I mean, we ain't wrong, we right. Hitler wasn't wrong about them, he right. Because, so anyway, J Love and Reverend T, I just had to say that about my own personal experience. And some of our people, when you try to talk to them about it, man, get out of my face, man. I'm a grown man. You don't tell me what to do. So, okay, brother. Okay, then. God bless you.
Yeah.
Attorney Matt, I'm sitting over here trying to keep my mouth closed because you are right. I saw the question, how do we change it? It first starts with us. We are our own. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy.
That's true. That's very true.
We are the creators of this, because we, like you said, we don't care unless it happens to us. Reverend T and I know this, like we see it in the things that we are in. People don't care unless it's them. And which is so sad, because all of this, we're telling these stories because this stuff affects everybody, right? It easily happened to her. She took her own money. They figured out how to make it a crime and charge her, and she can get 40 years. This stuff happens so easily to us. It happened to my son. So I was in a state of shock because all the information was there to prove that he was innocent, and they found him guilty. And so when we have these conversations, we ain't just coming over here to gripe. We're trying to show you that this stuff is so in your face. They're doing it in your face. And we don't help it because we can't get past our own little selves to see that all of this stuff is it's intentional, right? I saw somebody said today, we can't be mad at a system that wasn't created for us in the first place. It wasn't created for us. So we have to be involved in creating a new system. But if we're all uninvolved, we don't care, if we're all it's not part of our duty as human beings, spiritual beings, is to be of service and to help. Is to I want to say this. Jesus was a revolutionary. We and so many of us follow that his teaching, but we don't act revolutionary. We don't act revolutionary. We need to start looking at what it is and calling it out. And it's okay to call it out. And it's okay to stand up. And it's okay to be a part of. We seeing these students, and we're gonna get to that in 2 seconds. These innocent students getting beat down to the ground, and we just, you know, I don't know how you can have a child and not feel some kind of way about seeing other people, kids getting beat down. How you can watch video.
I wish we could have responded the way we did for the draft. If we could have responded in the droves of people who came from all over. It wasn't just Detroiters.
Right.
Came from all over to support and participate. You know, it's not like they were all going into where the draft was, but to be in the environment of the draft. And when I looked at the numbers and looked at the people, I said, wow, what a difference we could make if we had headed towards Emory or Columbia University.
Or U of M.
Or U of M. That's right. We could have just went to U of M. And that wasn't even far. Jay, I don't know. I think that so many of us are lulled away with putting our minds everywhere else, and we're so separated within ourselves, separated from our brothers and our sisters.
Right.
Separated from humanity.
Exactly. That's it, Ravitia. That's it. We're disconnected from humanity.
Yeah.
You know, compassion. Some of us love. We don't even love ourselves, so we can't even love nobody else. It's like, So anyway, we got Marilyn Mosby. So we're talking about what's been going on all week at these colleges. And then there was another video that came across that explains a lot. And so I'm going to play that when hopefully Attorney Mack sees this one. Here we go.
Do you know Israeli forces train U.S. law enforcement? By now, you've seen footage of violent campus crackdowns against anti-genocide student protesters in many cities, including New York City, Boston, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, and Atlanta. What the f*** is wrong with you? And you know what else these cities have in common? Members of their law enforcement agencies have trained in Israel. Since the 90s, thousands of U.S. law enforcement officials, from police all the way up to FBI and ICE, have trained in Israel or with Israeli forces in the U.S.
These exchanges are allowing for a mutual learning and exchange around tactics of state violence and control.
We're seeing that reflected today, with officers behaving like an occupying force, decked out in riot gear, riding tactical vehicles, and firing rubber bullets and flashbang devices to clear out students' Palestine solidarity encampments. Here's how police cracked down at Emory University in Atlanta.
Why are you doing this?
Every chief of the Atlanta Police Department and many other officers throughout the state of Georgia have participated in Israeli trainings. In fact, Atlanta's Georgia State University hosts an organization that sponsors Israeli police exchanges. Atlanta's former police chief even admitted his city's controversial surveillance cameras were modeled off what he saw during a training in Jerusalem. Then there's what went down at Boston's Emerson College.
Going to jail?
Members of the Boston Police Department have also trained in Israel. Washington, D.C. police used pepper spray on students protecting George Washington University's encampment. Top officials within that department have traveled to Israel for training. So have members of the California Highway Patrol, which fired rubber bullets at UCLA students. And then there's the NYPD, which responded to Columbia's student encampment and occupation of Hamilton or Hins Hall like this. The NYPD is deeply connected to Israel. Many of its top cops have traveled to Israel over the past 20 years. Remember the NYPD spying program that targeted Muslims after 9/11? That was inspired in part by what officials saw the Israelis doing in the occupied West Bank. And the trips to Israel continue. NYPD officers were even there for a training on October 7th. And get this, the Columbia associate professor who helped direct the NYPD raid, she also heads up the NYPD counterterrorism unit, which actually has an office in Tel Aviv.
Why do you think Israel is so attractive to U.S. law enforcement agencies?
The two being both rooted in racism and state violence, there's a real natural attraction and a desire to trade tactics. These exchange programs are lifting up the Israeli occupation as a global gold standard for policing.
Now, make no mistake, American police have always been violent well before Israel came into existence in 1948. But these police exchanges, which ramped up significantly after 9/11, also legitimized the use of mass surveillance and racial profiling, all tactics Israel has mastered. So what exactly happens on these trips? For one, U.S. officials meet and train with high-ranking officials in the Israeli police, military, intelligence, and government. They also attend seminars, do ride-alongs, and visit military checkpoints and prisons, hallmarks of Israel's system of apartheid that systematically subjugates Palestinians.
You're supposed to protect us!
Today, we're seeing a generation of American college students risking everything to demand their universities end their complicity with Israel's occupation and now genocide against the Palestinian people. They should not be on the receiving end of the violence they're protesting against.
The body cam footage from the Okaloosa Sheriff's deputy who unalived Airman Roger Fortson while he was in his home on a FaceTime call, causing no problems and did nothing to provoke the shooting, has now been released. And I want to show you something before I post the video. I want to start with a close-up of the hand that Airman Fortson lifted when he opened the door. It was a hand in peace, like, I'm not going to do anything wrong. And the deputy immediately began firing. He did not assess the situation before he began firing on that airman. And mind you, in the video, you will not hear a disturbance at all. This was murder.
Roger Fortson was the best America had to offer. He was a patriot. He was a U.S. airman, special ops. I mean, he was fighting for our way of life.
He was fighting for everybody.
He was fighting for everybody. He graduated from high school in Atlanta, Georgia. He enlisted. He had dreams of being a pilot. He had always wanted to serve in the United States Air Force. And he was living his dream. And by doing so, he was going to make it better for his mother and his siblings and his family so they can have a better chance at the American dream.
Revertia, Attorney Matt.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. That's hard. Can Tia, you go ahead and speak, sir. I'm sorry.
No. You can look, I don't know where to begin, Jay, because it was, like I said, when we started, it was a rough week. It's been rough this week. And, as far as viewing and seeing, I do see, and I just want to pose this, Attorney Mack, and then I want you to go on. I think we need to get to a point where we ask the question, why? First of all, why? Why are our law enforcement personnel being trained to counter terrorism and against the citizens of the United States? Mm-hmm. I think this is where I'm at. Why are they being trained to counter terrorism against the citizens of the United States? And why? Why does it appear that there is a certain group of people that are at the center of combating terrorism, and yet they're the terrorists? We need to ask ourselves, why is this happening? Is there something else that we're preparing for? Because we are used to now, we've become used to being treated like terrorists in our own nation. We need to ask the question, why?
Go
ahead, Attorney Mack.
Let me just put it like this. See, after the Civil War, there was a backlash concerning federal troops being used to supposedly infringe on the rights of citizens, okay? Mm-hmm. Because we all know there was no state militia that fought to end the Civil War on behalf of the Union. Those were federal troops that did that. Federal troops, okay? So after the Civil War, when the Republicans caved in to the Democrats, which were racist, by the way, the original Democrats were hard-line racist, hard-line racist, particularly in the South, okay? On the Hayes-Tilden Compromise, where the Republicans said, hey, look, you Democrats in Congress, because at that time the presidency had to be determined by the Congress, the votes weren't there sufficient, so the Congress had just said, look, y'all let Rutherford B. Hayes, y'all vote for Rutherford B. Hayes, the Republican, to be the president, and we're going to pull them federal troops up out of the South, okay? We're going to pull them federal troops up out of the South, okay? So That was part of the sellout of black folks by the Republicans. And when they pulled them troops out of the South, that ended Reconstruction. Okay? Because then it was left up to the state militias or the state agency, the state government, to enforce federal law, which they obviously were never going to do. And that's the advent of like Jim Crow, black codes, all that right then and there, okay? So anyway, one of the offsprings of the South with the weak Republicans not standing in the way was a doctrine known as posse comitatus, okay? Posse comitatus. And what that doctrine says is that's POSSE COMITATUS Act, posse comitatus. Y'all, I'm gonna spell it again. POSSE, that's the first word, posse comitatus. COMITATUS Act. You Google that and see what it says. So what that act was saying, hey, you know what? The federal troops cannot be used against citizens. Now, we might think that that is a beautiful thing because we don't want the federal government kicking in our door. But the intent of that act was to stop federal troops from coming to the aid of black folk. Okay? Okay? So black folks' salvation can only come from two sources, state agency or a federal agency. So once they passed the Posse Comitatus Act, federal troops could not be involved. In other words, the government couldn't sick the federal government itself on citizens, okay? So when this lady is talking about police in like riot gear, like military soldier gear, okay? That's a way around Posse Comitatus because it's not the federal government doing it. Those are state police. Those are city police, okay? That's doing that with the same import, the same force of the federal government. Because after the war in Iraq, okay, a lot of those munitions, like those armored personnel carriers, those were donated to police agencies. You remember a man by the name of I believe his name was Michael Brown in Missouri, that city in Missouri. Police shot that man. The name escapes me. The name of that small city in Missouri escapes me. But when you look at the footage of that, and I encourage all y'all to go back and look at it, when the police rode down, look at those armored personnel carriers, and I ask you, where do you think all that came from? Look at the machine guns atop them armored personnel carriers. And I ask y'all, where do you think that came from? A bake sale? Okay. Those are military munitions, not no local police, military munitions. So what I'm saying is they've gotten around Posse Comitatus by giving all these armaments to these local police agencies, and they do the job quite effectively. So, J Love and Reverend Tia, when we look at what's happened around on the campuses here, there is a real Ferguson. Thank you, Ferguson. J Love, help me. So thank you, Jesus. So when we look at what's happened, there's so much propaganda because, first of all, do not equate pro-Palestinian with pro-Hamas. See, that's what's happening here with to me, it's racism to me. I'm sorry. To me, it's racism to me because I can be against Hamas and the terrorist act and be supporting the Palestinian people. What is that? Is it 14,000 kids killed? Is that something like that right now? And 20-some thousand adults killed? I can protest that, J Love, and say we need to stop doing that because Israel is creating more danger for itself. I've got friends that are from Gaza, okay, and that area. Every Palestinian that's killed is breeding 10 more people that have a blood vendetta against someone who killed their people. I mean, think about that. And I'm talking about kids, by the way, growing up. So, yeah. So trying to crack down on people for lawful protest is wrong. Now, I'll say this. You've got infiltrators in every protest. Some of them could be from the government, for all we know. That's what happened to Dr. King. They had informants with him, okay, informant on him, creating riots and stuff like that. So, you know, J Love and Reverend Tia, my thing is this, is that we in America have got to realize we cannot keep on going down this road of imperialism and think it's not going to come back on us, because it is. It is, okay? You know, so anyway, I didn't mean to get sidetracked, but y'all look up Posse Comitatus. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So this one last video, and then we're gonna go. We're gonna transition into. Well, this video will probably help us transition into our the rally. But
not only did the 13th Amendment never actually abolish slavery, but governments and media are now bragging about slave labor. Watch this.
Inmates from the Erie County Prison spent the day cleaning up trees downed in a recent storm. The work launches the pilot of a new community works program. The initiative aims to support public projects with no-cost labor.
Did you hear that? No-cost labor. They are forcing incarcerated people to work to provide labor without paying them. That is what slavery is. And then they go on to say this at the end of the video.
And Davis also encourages entities like Little Leagues in Need of Labor to reach out to his office.
Meaning they're advertising this no-cost labor to other organizations that if you need work done and don't have money, then call us and we will send incarcerated people to you and force them to do work for you for free. And the reason why this matters beyond the obvious that this is in fact slave labor is that even now in 2024, Black people are 13% of the population, but comprise 40% of the prison population. Meanwhile, Black and white people commit crimes at about the same rate. But because we are in the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow, Black and brown people are still targeted at a much higher rate by law enforcement. It's also why Black people get sentenced to 20% longer prison terms than white people, and why Black people are more likely to get the death penalty than are white people. And then when you add in the final factor that people who have a record cannot vote, you begin to see a comprehensive picture. Not only is slavery being perpetuated, but it disproportionately harms Black people and to an extent brown people. And finally, Black and brown people are disproportionately denied the right to vote to change the racist structure and system putting them in prison in the first place. A reminder once more that a system cannot fail those it was never meant to protect in the first place.
He's a good guy. He was on my team for a while.
There you go.
Yeah, not the mic. That's true. All of it.
So, as we just go over everything that we saw today, this evening. He kind of summed it up. You know what I'm saying? And so when we talk about the self-hate that Attorney Matt was talking about earlier, and then we talked about, all these things, this is why we come here on Friday, so we can bring awareness, and we need to pay attention.
Yeah.
So I said all that to say, this is how we have to get involved. And one of the ways that we can get involved is by participating and finding your space to participate in some kind of movement. This coming Sunday on Mother's Day, it's going to be a rally in Huron Valley. And so we've been talking about Huron Valley for quite a long time, as well as Crystal Clark. She is one of the people that we talk about, one of the women we talk about often. And so I want to break on one of the persons who are a part of the group that is putting on this rally for the women at Huron Valley this Sunday, Mother's Day at 12 noon. So I'm going to bring her in. Greetings, Laura.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Introduce yourself to everyone.
Yeah, I'm Laura. So I'm with the GDC, which is the Michigan General Defense Committee. One of the things that one of the pillars of our work is abolition and prison abolition, much like that last video touched on. the prison industrial complex is very much just a continuation of chattel slavery. That system never fully ended. So, the only solution we see for us is that system can't be reformed. It has to be abolished. So we do prison abolition work. As part of that, I got in touch with Crystal Clark. And we're having a rally this Sunday at the Huron Valley Women's Correctional Facility. It's from noon to 2. And it's just a rally in support of and in solidarity with Crystal and all the other women and mothers that are incarcerated in this mold infested building, to show that we support them, we see them, and also to let the prison officials know that it's not going unnoticed, right? That there are people out here that see what they're doing to these women.
Yeah, and I find it very interesting that every time that we talk to Crystal or we put some info out about Crystal, she's being retaliated against. They either take her medicine or they do some kind of weird thing to punish her. She was telling me about something that just recently happened where they try to lock her up in some, basically it sounded like the hole. It was very disgusting and dirty. Or to not go there, she had to say, I haven't been vomiting. She had to deny what was going on with her. And so you think about, like, these people, how can you be so inhumane? She's there and she's suffering from an environment that everybody knows that is toxic. But you want her to silence her. We already had Teresa Dunlap last year who died from the mold in her chemo. There's other women that's in there that's sick from that mold. We had Linda, who was on here. She was in Huron Valley, and she talked about how it drips when you're taking a shower. The mold drips on them, and they was treating them for scabies or something else, where literally it's coming from the mold. And so this is just, we have to stand in solidarity with these women. Go ahead, Laura.
I every time I talk to Crystal, I mean, she faces, like you said, retaliation, so many different types of retaliation all the time. And she does not care, right? It's not going to stop her. She keeps on fighting. And if with all the pain and suffering she's going through, if she can keep fighting, then certainly those of us on the outside can keep fighting too.
Yes. So we asked
what's really bad is when she said that someone told her, maybe if you would be quiet, then maybe they'll help you.
Yeah.
And it just really shows, I mean, are these real people that are working? I mean, how can you be that inhumane? It's like, you can't be a real person. It's just ridiculous. So I'm definitely going to be there Sunday.
Me too. And we want everyone who watch us, who support Crystal, to come out and join. Laura, tell us about what's all going to go on at the rally. You told me some of it, but just everyone know.
Yeah, we're going to have some chants, some music. We'll have speakers. We're going to do like an open mic. So if anybody wants a chance to speak or sing, read a poem, anything like that, we are going to try to get Crystal on the phone too, so her voice is part of the rally. But yeah, it's going to be nothing too fancy, but just chants and support and all that.
Yes. So we're asking, everyone, people ask, what can they do? How can I get involved? You can come to this protest and stand in solidarity with other women who are in a toxic environment. Stand up for them. Be their voice. And I talked to Krista and she said they know because she know they knows because they start doing things to her.
Mm-hmm.
So they're hearing us. They know that we are, you know, making it public and making it aware. And so, and Crystal is, like you said, she's strong, and she's, despite that, you know, the retaliation, she's still committed to exposing this truth and the people that are doing it. And so, I mean, she told me that she was telling them that she has rights. And it was like, no, you don't have any rights.
Yeah.
And so, Laura, I got you on here. You said you're abolitionist. And so when people hear the word abolition now, they think first things that come to their minds is, you know, what's going to happen if we don't have prisons? Where we gonna put people if there's no prisons or no jails or whatever? What do you say to that, Laura?
I mean, I don't have all the answers. I just know the current system is not working. But I know that there's other alternatives. In Ypsilanti, there's something called care-based safety, which is a pilot program that's supposed to be an alternative to the police and the like jail and the justice system. So yeah, I don't have all the answers, but there's smarter people than me that know better alternatives. But what we're doing doesn't work.
Right. And to be honest, America, the United States, jail more people than any other country, just about every other country, right? A lot of it is nonviolent crimes. And there are countries around the world that have a more progressive, more humane way of dealing with people that commit crimes. We're still
restorative.
Right.
Yep.
And not this humane way of punishment and treatment of people, because the majority of people are coming back home, and that's what people don't get. You know, people say weird stuff like you're going to jail, you're going to get raped. Like, what is that to say? Like, we have to change how we personally view incarceration, because we got a weird mindset about, you know, what's going on in these prisons and stuff. And people actually say this crazy stuff. And so until we can create a better way, if we start seeing a better way.
Yeah. And because that's been the expectation, you know, it's almost like you're expecting these atrocities to go on behind bars. And there are restorative practices that are in other locations that prove to work and to really rehabilitate. I mean, when you look at the mission of MDOC or, you know, Department of Corrections, their mission is supposed to be rehabilitative, and it's not. It clearly is not. They are nowhere near, you know, achieving their mission or a vision. I don't even, if they have a vision up there, it's lying anyway, so they need not to even mention it. But when you think about all of these atrocities and everything that's happening, there is a change that we can, you know, we have to create change. We need to be led to do it and motivated to do it. And when you look at the history, especially in Michigan, when they closed all of the mental health hospitals, most of them went behind bars because they had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And we have to know the truth, you know. So that's why most of the people behind bars come with a mental illness. And if you didn't have one before you went behind there, you definitely gonna have it when you come out.
Definitely.
And look, I'm sorry. A lot of people revere Coleman Young as a great leader, you know, and he certainly had his moments of greatness. I mean, I remember when he first referred to one president as prune face. Anyway. Reverend T, I had to interject here because what you're saying is so right. And it was a man by the name of John Engler who took the lead in closing down, like the Lafayette Clinic, okay, who took the lead front and center. It is a man by the name of John Engler, referring to inmates, who said, I would stack them like cordwood if I could. You know, and as I said, when we went to Oakland University, Tia and J Love and Lady Laura, thank you so much for being with us. You know, that is something that struck right to my very core, because it's one thing to refer to a person like an animal, a monkey, or a gorilla or whatever. That is a live, sentient being, okay, that has some aspect of life, of a life force, of a purpose in the world, okay? Mm-hmm. So to refer to me as a monkey is the meaning to me as a human being. But when you refer to me as cordwood, that's an inanimate object. See, right. There is no life force worthy of respect in a piece of wood, okay? So when this man chose cordwood, that showed me everything I needed to know. And so you said, okay, how does that circle back? Because a man by the name of James Blanchard and Coleman Young, you know, got into well, let's just say a tape measure contest. Okay. Okay. Let's just say that. And to prove that his tape measure extended longer than Blanchard's, Coleman Young decided, I'm not pushing this campaign. I'm not pushing for the people in Detroit to get out and vote. Okay. Okay. Engler won that race by less than what, 10,000 votes? Okay. And so what I'm saying to you is that that's less than what, a third of a precinct? So what I'm saying to you is this. Remember what I said about us with a self-hate, okay? And wanting to serve everybody else's interests except our own, okay? For the bravado of the moment, you know? And what I'm saying is that a lot of these injustices that are happening now had its stem back with the Engler administration. It really did. It really, really, really did. And that Engler administration never would have been there if we had not got caught up in personalities. Okay. And John Engler never would have had a chance to be, because people can say what you want about Jim Blanchard. And I've got a lot of criticism of myself, but he's a far better site governor than Engler ever was. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you that, you know. So anyway, so I listened to what Lady Laura's got to say, and Laura's got to say, and it's heartbreaking. It is. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. And these places is called correctional facilities, but they ain't correcting nothing. They ain't even correcting health, you know. So we have to be part of the movement to help correct these atrocities. We have to educate ourselves, and then we have to also understand that a traffic infraction could be your one step in the door of a correctional facility.
Absolutely.
It can easy happen to you. Mm-hmm. Don't think that, you know, well, it don't have nothing to do with me. I'm not going to prison. It can easily happen to you. There's a lot of innocent women inside there as well. When we talk about wrongful convictions, we talked about a woman right now, just today, that's facing 40 years for a crime that never happened. So we have to look at this like this could happen to me. I don't want it to happen to me or one of my loved ones. And so I want to get involved. We have to get involved. So again, this rally is Sunday, Mother's Day. Join us at Huron Valley Correctional Facility at 12 noon. From 12 to 2, that's just a couple of hours to stand up for justice. Laura, is there anything else you'd like to leave us with?
I would just say, I know it's Mother's Day. There's a lot of people that said they can't come because they've got Mother's Day plans already, but bring your mom, bring your children, right? I'm bringing my mom to the rally. So that can be a great part of it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
J Love, can I say this one thing also?
Go ahead,
for people who want to be very disposal oriented with these ladies, okay? Okay. I would remind you that the Michigan Department of Corrections has spent, it's been a while now, I can't remember how many millions of dollars that is, in settlement for women that have been sexually violated within the Michigan Department of Corrections. You see, I'm sure all of you know, but some of the people listening may not know, there wasn't always just one facility for women.
Right.
Okay. See, because these women were being sexually raped, to be honest about it, you know, throughout the state, they said, you know what? We're going to put all women in one facility. That's how the Huron Valley Women's Corrections Center came about. There are no women's prisons in the state of Michigan other than that one. They've centralized it, okay? Now, that can be a good thing because there's eyes on them as a gender, you know what I'm saying? And so there can be accountability instead of investigating something up in the Upper Peninsula, you know, it's localized, but it can also be a very bad thing because with them there, it's so easy to marginalize a group of people when you've got them all together. It's so easy to marginalize them, okay? You know, and then when a lot of the oppression that is going on, because I don't know if it's still true, but as a result of those women being sexually violated, some women got paid. I mean, that's true, but that doesn't address the wrong that was done to them and other women that never got paid. And it doesn't address the psychological trauma that those women have been put through. You know, money spends, okay? You know, I don't know if trauma ever dissipates, to be honest about it, you know. Perhaps we can learn to cope with it, but I don't know if it ever goes away. But in any event,
some have babies.
Yeah, that true. You know, true. And so what, you know, I've got a 10% rule. You know, just like when I was growing up, my mom used to tell me, say, boy, see that roach over there? Yeah, mom. It's okay. Now we finna kill that roach, okay? And I want you to feel good, but I want you to know there's 10 others behind the wall that we ain't seen yet. So what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that for the women that we can prove have been sexually assaulted and violated, and by the way, let me tell you something. The Department of Corrections, the operating procedures and the policy directives, those are very anti-inmate, okay? Anti-inmate. I can tell you from personal experience, in my own time in the penitentiary, having authored over 375 grievances, authored over 12 federal lawsuits, it is like you're lying. Okay. You know, I had an officer cuss me out directly to my face, a sergeant, direct to my face, another sergeant standing right next to him. When I reported that officer and they interviewed the sergeant, said, that inmate's lying. Sergeant Johansson never said that. Now, see, that's a blatant lie because he heard that man say that. But rather than stand up for what's true, they would rather say attorney, inmate, convict Mac is disposable. And so we are going to dispose of him. Not only are we going to deny this grievance, we're going to file a major misconduct against him for making a false allegation against staff. See, that's the kind of, that's not just wrong, ladies. That's an evil thing. That's evil. That's evil. Okay. So I say that God bless y'all. God bless us to keep on this fight. Lady Laura, it's first time I've seen you. God bless you for what you're doing, you know, and stuff, because I don't care what any woman has done in a penitentiary. You do not have the right to take her humanity from her.
Exactly.
Okay. So, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, and I tell people all the time, say, well, you know, you're a woman's rights advocate. No, I'm not. I'm a human rights advocate. Okay. I don't limit this to gender. Okay. This is a spiritual battle that we're fighting here. Okay. It's a spiritual battle. So anyway, God bless y'all and I love you.
Thank you, Attorney Mac. Reverend.
Yeah, thank you, Attorney Mac. And Laura, thank you for coming on today. I look forward to Sunday. And, you know, with this particular Mother's Day, there's so much has happened in the world. I am telling my children we need just to kind of lay back. Let's think about some things when we're celebrating, what we're celebrating, why we're celebrating. get mixed up into the narrative of the day or the holiday that was created. What are we really doing with our time? What are we really doing with our loved ones? If you know, because I'm loved all the time by mine, and so I don't need a holiday for them to express that, because they're going to express it on a Wednesday when they feel like it, whenever they want to, which is a lot. And I'm good with that, and I'm letting them know I'm good with you on that. I don't want you following after the things of this world, because this is where we're at. I want to leave our audience with a reminder to listen to and be conscious of the narratives that are going on, that I've seen just in this broadcast, this podcast alone. But let's talk about, I'm just going to bring up two of them. One is called forced pregnancy. When Attorney Mack was talking about what happened in the prisons, when you look at the studies on rape in the prisons, they don't even call it rape in the prisons. You know what they've called? They've termed it forced pregnancy. Well, that's you know, we softening the definition or the word of the same definition. Another one we saw today in one of the clips. He unalived him. No, he killed him.
Mm-hmm.
He killed him. He didn't unalive him. What is that? Like it's a video game or something.
Right.
You know? And then he gets to eat something along the road and then get his power back? No. He killed him.
Right.
Back.
That's true.
Right.
You know? And I want you, because at some point it feels like we've been lulled asleep, and some of the people are just like the Walking Dead. And the reason why you're the Walking Dead, if you are the Walking Dead, and usually if you're listening to this conversation, then you're probably not the Walking Dead. But I know you know that there are people who are Walking Dead because they are so steeped in virtual reality that they don't even see the reality that is happening right before their eyes. And I need y'all to wake the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Yes.
It's time to wake up. See the people before you. See the humanity before you. Recognize it. And know that we're one. And when you do that, oh, we'll change. Change is now.
Yeah. Thank you, Reverend Tia.
Thank you.
So you guys, again, join us on Sunday at Huron Valley Correctional Facility, 3201 Bemis Road in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Crystal, we're going to stand in solidarity with Crystal and all the other women who have been sick and suffering inside that facility. And like Laura said, bring your mom with you. Make it a family, you know, standing in solidarity for human rights. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Laura. We're going to have to get you on again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yes, Reverend Tia and Attorney Hugo Mack. We unpacked a lot in such a short time, but really it's just a lot we have to do. And some of it is uncomfortable. Conversations can be very uncomfortable, but in order for change to happen, we have to have some of these uncomfortable conversations. So with that, Attorney Matt, was you trying to say something else?
No. No. Hey, look, nothing other than another shameless plug. HMAClaw.com is your hookup. HMAClaw.com is your hookup. hmclaw.com and hook up. And one final thing, I love you.
All right. Bless Love said love is an action word. Yes,
that's right.
Yes, it is. And we're going to be in love and action on Sunday. So at Huron Valley. So thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.